Bonjour tout le monde. Nous allons faire le pays et la capitale francophone. So we're going to do francophone speaking countries and capitals. In this chapter, we'll be talking about nationality, so I thought it would be important for us to know where we can go speak French, because that's part of the journey of learning the lesson, is maybe getting the chance someday to go practice your language and see these amazing places. So today we'll be talking about the capitals, the French-speaking country and capitals. Francophone. So you might have heard me answer this or just say this a second ago. What does francophone mean? A francophone country is a country where French is the main or official language. And so those will be the ones we'll be covering today. You can also be a francophone person. It just means French speaking. So French speaking country, a francophone person is a French speaking person. So just really quickly, French became an international language in the Middle Ages with the influence of the Kingdom of France, and in the 18th century, it became the languages of European courts and diplomacy. It was only in the 20th century that it loses its place as a language of diplomacy to the detriment of English as a result of the extension of the British Empire and the rise of the English-speaking United States. So that is why we're going to see French spoken in so many different places. So how many francophone countries are there and how many can you name? So if you're not using the cheat sheet, how many countries can you name that are francophone? And on the cheat sheet, I actually don't have all of the French-speaking countries. I just picked a couple from each continent. So, il y a 29 pays francophones. There are 29 French-speaking countries. Just to give you an idea of where some of them are, this is not all of them, because there's a whole bunch of tiny ones over here in the French West Indies, Canada and North America. You have Europe up here and Africa. So it gives you a general idea of where you could travel to practice your French. Okay, so let's find out. Le pays, I have the countries already written down for you, so all you guys have to do is la capitale. So qu'est-ce que c'est la capitale de la Belgique? What is the capital of Belgium? Bruxelles. We would say Brussels in English, Bruxelles. Les Bruxelles. Le France. Paris. On the left hand side here, this is Mont Saint-Michel. It's this really incredible monastery that sits in the north of France on the shores of Normandy. The tide at times will come up so high that it surrounds the entire castle and village, and so there is no way off the island. You have to wait until the tide recedes again so you can cross the bridge. La Suisse, in English known as Switzerland. La capitale, Bern. Bern is what we would say in English, and actually in French it's got an E on the end, so if you could please add an E to the end of that, that would be great. Le Monaco. So if you've ever heard of Monaco, Monte Carlo, Monaco is a small city that sits on the coast of the French Riviera. So Le Monaco, and this is seeing if people are paying attention. There is no capital for Monaco. It is so small, and it really is kind of absorbed into France, and we'll talk about that later in the semester. Le Canada. Qu'est-ce que c'est la capitale de Canada? Now, you should all know this since this is our wonderful neighbor right to the north of us, and actually it's not too far. La Ottawa. So Ottawa is the capital of Le Canada. Where can you primarily speak French in Canada? Quebec, which is about 10 hours north of us, and it's a city that's over 400 years old, so it's the oldest city in North America, and it actually, parts of it resemble what Europe looks like. It's so old, it's so unique. So if you ever get a chance, it's a great place to travel to. You can drive there. It takes 10 hours, but everybody there is speaking in French, so it's a great way to get a little bit of culture and not have to fly over to France. And so definitely put this on your list of places to visit. An even closer city that is French speaking in Canada, Montreal. Now, this isn't the best photo I have of Montreal, but Montreal is an incredible city that is just 6 hours north of us. It's a great way to get some French culture and practice your French language as well. And so those are right in our back door. La Haiti. This would be the poorest country in the world. Port-au-Prince. They also were devastated quite a few years back with an awful earthquake, which did not help matters. La Guadeloupe. So La Guadeloupe sits in the French West Indies. It's a small francophone island. La capitale, La Bas-Terre. I was really fortunate to be able to spend a summer in Guadeloupe, and it is an amazing island. It is definitely a little bit more challenging with the language, just because of the dialect they speak on the island. It's more slang involved, especially with the Creole culture. So I really was challenged with my French skills when you go to the islands. It definitely does not sound like the French that you would hear necessarily in France. It's very, very similar, but also different. And so you have to keep in mind that that's going to happen when you travel. There's different dialects, and that influences how languages are spoken. La Martinique is also in the French West Indies. Another summer I was fortunate enough to spend working in Martinique. Très incroyable, super incredible. Again, it was a little challenging picking up on the island French, but it was an incredible experience. A beautiful, beautiful country to visit in the French West Indies. La capitale, Fort-de-France. So now we have moved to l'Afrique. So I just really, mind you, there's 29 francophone countries. I just picked a couple from a couple from Europe, from North America, and Africa, just to have a base. But it doesn't mean I don't want to discourage you from learning about the geography and capitals of others. And there's no reason I picked the ones that I did. I just thought maybe they would be I had more interesting facts to share about them, so it was easier for me to pick these ones. But feel free to Google all 29 countries that speak French. So here we have l'Afrique, and we're in le Sénégal. Qu'est-ce que c'est la capitale? Dakar. So here, you guys, you have Lake Repa, otherwise known as the Pink Lake. Really a tourist attraction and pretty phenomenal to see that. Le Côte d'Ivoire, the Ivory Coast. Qu'est-ce que c'est la capitale? Yamoussoukro. And we're going to end with Le Madagascar. I mean, this photo makes me want to go there right now. Unfortunately, Madagascar is having a lot of political turmoil, but they are an official Francophone speaking country. So, and also Madagascar is also known for the popular movie La Capitale. Antananarivo. Antananarivo. So that completes our lesson today on our French-speaking countries and capitals. I hope you guys have a little bit better idea of the places that maybe you can go practice your French, or the places that you can discover that have French culture. If you're having issues or problems, please do not hesitate to email me. I am happy to work out something with you. Ciao!